How's it going?
Hi. What can I do for you today?
Actually, I'm sorry. Can we restart this?
No, you don't have to start again. Just say we're homeless.
Well, Vince, like the way you were like talking, like.
Yeah, I'm gonna come out after you talk to Liz. This is the first experience.
All right.
First step.
Hi. I'm homeless. What do I say?
You're currently homeless?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to have you fill this out for us. It's just a one-page questionnaire, and it just gives us an idea of what your current situation is. Give us as much information as you can right in the middle there about what your situation is and what help you're looking for, and then just bring it back to me when you're done, and we'll chat about it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you work it then. And then just take, oh, I'm already out here, but you're going to fill this out, and then you'll sit here, and I'm outreach, and I'll be right with you.
All right.
Okay? Okay. Okay.
Wait,
there you're going to watch it fill it.
did you actually fill it out, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so then we can turn the, it looks like, okay, let me tell Ryan what we're doing, okay?
Okay, yeah, definitely.
I need housing, food, and clothes. Sometimes that's how it reads. And then what we do is we come out and we actually take the client back there and we sit with them. And let me just show you what you do. So then you fill this out already, okay?
Yeah.
Then you're going to come this way. Well, I could sometimes ask you this way.
All right, cool. Well, like, you know how you're explaining it to right now? That's right now. Like, that'd be perfect for the recording. Like, we can go through the
Okay, well, you
process.
can edit in this way. Now, typically we would come this way. The person would be you. You're the guy.
Okay.
And I would say, hi, I'm Vince. I'm doing outreach. And I bring you here. And I would say, take a seat. And then I'd go, hey, Benjamin Purnell, you're 16 years old, and you're homeless. And how did this happen? How did you get homeless? And then basically like that we're editing, okay? So I just want you guys to, so being here like in this moment, your own experience, so this is where somebody would come in and do the interview with us. My partner typically would also be in on this interview. And what we would be doing is we would be gleaning information by interviewing someone like Ben, but who's homeless, and we would try to direct him or refer him to services that would help him. He looks pretty clean. Sometimes what happens is when people come in here and they need a shower, we can do an emergency shower for someone. That's one of the things we have available. And very often people who are homeless aren't having the opportunity to bathe and take care of their
bodies. Yeah.
Well, more than, like, what is that called? Your personal hygiene. So we're looking at that too as a way to engage the client in any way that we can. And we also have a place that we're going to go to in a little bit. It's the Union Station Homeless Services Center, and people can eat there. They can have breakfast and lunch there. And this is within the community of Pasadena. Okay.
Okay, yeah. Have the paper jars?
A woman who's experiencing domestic violence or a man that's experiencing domestic violence, they can call 211 and they can get referred to here.
Will this be free on payphones, or is this from the hospital?
If you have to payphone it, I think 211 is a free call. But you could probably link to the operator and they could get you 211 too.
Yeah.
But everybody's got cell phones, you know, and the community is responding through 211 for us. So let's just sit for a minute.
So like state your name, your profession, and like what you do.
Hi, my name is Vincent Mejia. I work here at Passageways as the outreach.
How long have you been
Here?
Yeah.
I've worked here for 8 years, and I recently had this job for 2 as the outreach employee.
Then in what ways do you help the homeless? Like your outreach, you pretty much said that. So this is
Well, part of my job is to meet with someone and interview them and find out what their needs are. and I'm looking for certain things. I'm looking for whether they need a mental health intervention with our therapist. We have a therapist on site, so sometimes if someone's coming in and they have mental health issues, we identify that and then we send them to the therapist. We're asking for people for an emergency shelter daily. If they need that, we provide that. And it's just really to make a contact with them and that they can see what the community is going to be able to offer them in terms of solution to some of their housing crisis.
Alright, nice. That was perfect actually. Okay,
Other side.
sorry.
No, it's cool.
Like when you're in there, like talking and stuff, that was perfect. Like everyone over everything we needed.
Well, I think it's really important for you guys to get a plan or an idea of what our plan is when we meet someone in our community that is in some ways in a challenge. And very often, this is one of the things that I talk to the client about is you've come here today because we're a resource center, we're an access center through the County of LA and through Pasadena. And we want to find out all the things that we need to know about them so that we can help them.
Exactly. How did you get to this job? Like what made you choose what you do right now?
Well, I was hired here by Pacific Clinics to do a job which really was about support staff. And with training, I took some mental health trainings with our agency, with our company, and I got hired for this outreach job. I know the community of Pasadena. I grew up here. I think I know the city pretty well, so
Yeah.
it's a good fit for me for this job.
Alright, yeah, what do you recommend when a homeless person will ask for money? Do you recommend that they give them money or food? What's like the better option?
Well, that's a personal choice to the individual that,
Yeah.
Panhandling's okay if there's a real desperate need for maybe fare for a public transit. I could see giving the person or buying them some fare on a tap card. It's a personal matter.
Yeah. And then the resources you said that you handed us, that paper, does it say where actually people can help donate their time and stuff?
Yeah, this is a compiling, a homeless resource list for the San Gabriel Valley of places people could go to food banks, for family resources for housing. I'll read the contents, the index, probably the best.
And then if people want to help the homeless, where should they go? Just
Emergency shelters? Oh, to volunteer?
Yeah, to volunteer.
Well, here in Pasadena, someone could volunteer at the Union Station administrative offices, which is at Orange Grove and Lake, and they could get referred to the areas that they need help. Could volunteer at.
Okay, yeah.
And people can, you can donate things to through various agencies.
We'll probably list some in the document.
Yeah, and you've got this clothing is available. Pretty much the basic needs are made available. Also, employment is really important. We want to link people to their self-confidence about getting a job, because linking themselves to a job will link them to money, which will make housing more available. If people have disabilities, if they have challenges, physical challenges that prevent them from working, then we want to link them to incomes through Social Security or the Social Security disability insurance programs, which are in place through our federal government. So there's a networking that presents where you might get the information from us. If a homeless person would get information from us that might put them into the next step for themselves.
And then halfway houses, do they have that? Is that
Substance abuse treatment facilities?
Or if they're not able to take care of themselves, they can a halfway house where the government provides shelter for them and stuff, but it's more they're independent kind of, but they have someone to watch over them. If you're not familiar.
There's a lot of resources. but there's also a lot of people. So you have to divide the resources between the individuals. And sometimes what we're seeing is there's I don't know if it's a glut, but we'll call it a ever-growing limit on beds. So right now in LA, there's a cap on a lot of our emergency shelters. If someone needs an emergency shelter, it's likely that there's going to be a waiting list for it, which is unfortunate, but it's the reality right now. We should tell people we're like filming in 2014, you know, but I've seen that right now I can't always provide a bed that day for a person. When someone is 18 to 26, we try to get them into a transitional youth program, and we always want to remember to keep people safe, keep them clothed and well fed till we can actually step in and find some referrals to their homeless crisis.
And then as the funding, has funding been consistent, or is it like going down and up?
Well, that's a really good question, because the funding for our program starts for a nonprofit at a level of private donation, and then we also have grant money that comes from county programs, state programs, federal programs. I mentioned HUD to you before, which is a program through the Department of Housing and Urban Development, which is in Washington, D.C. And we have a grant that provides funding for that through Pacific Clinics. And then they disperse the monies as needed for various things, for mobile unit, we have a mobile medical unit, and we have, mental health services. We have funding for case management services, and it's all a part of a grant awarded through the city of Pasadena too. The community that we are operating this program through monitors the expenditures, and it's clear that it takes a lot of people to monitor it all.
How do you feel like homelessness affects you and the community?
Well, I think we're all affected by homelessness. The community.
It's a tough question. You can have time to think about it.
Okay.
We can edit it out. Don't worry.
Okay. Well, I'm just thinking how we view the question. It's a big question.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, but I want to be able to tell you that there are a lot of people that are involved. This is the Urban Initiatives office that I talked about through Fuller Seminary. Annually, we do a homeless count in Pasadena, and this may be something that we can do too today. Is we'll go to the Urban Initiative office, and you can see there's actually a lady, and her position is the psychologist of the community. So she looks at this issue of how is the community feeling about its homelessness, and how does it react to homelessness, and what are the programs that benefit. It's a good question, and there's a lot of information about how to answer it.
All right. Yeah. Do you have anything you want to talk about, touch upon?
Well, I just want to. I'm starting to feel the gratitude about you guys taking an interest in this program, and that you are the new generation, so you want to be. We want to be transparent as we can about what we can share with you about what we need to get out there to your classmates and to your school about your participating in a better community. And it starts out locally, and then it goes county-wide, and then it goes state, and then it goes federal, and then it's global. So we're looking at things that we're learning about that really impact the whole world.
Yeah. Okay. That was good. Do you guys want to ask anything or say anything, Josh?
Yeah. How do you think homelessness affects LA County?
The county-wide? Well, I was thinking about it today. If we drove down to Skid Row and you got an idea. Have you guys been there?
No.
Okay, well, I might have to do it for you. Take you downtown, and we'll do that because we're right here. it creates some medical issues for people. We want to keep a healthy society, and when we're having people sleeping on the street, there are sanitary issues. There's all kinds of legal issues about people living on a sidewalk. How does it affect people in their financial districts and their oh, that's cool.
Yeah, sorry.
Let's see. It's well, but it's our community here too, because we're in LA. So I think it's a local issue.
Yeah. Okay.
How do you think the average person helps solve the homeless problem, or at least contribute?
How to contribute to the solution?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think just by understanding and not being judgmental about somebody that they encounter on the street. You have to use judgment and good care. I mean, you don't, but I think, yeah, just not to judge the individual on the street as we see someone who's homeless. There's a lot of reasons why they may have gotten there. So just to be open-minded about that is very important, I would say. But, we have to also offer respect to people so that we can encourage their own confidence and maybe make them have that goal of working and finding a productive place in their community, and then that should somehow translate into housing.
Should we? Do you feel like we covered everything? Like, do you want to talk about anything else?
Well, now that you guys haven't been to Skid Row, I think if we put a face on this, you could see the
Could we
situation.
record that? Or no?
Well, when we're driving down around Skid Row, I think you can, as long as you don't get too close to the faces of these
Exactly.
people. And it's sort of like that, too. It's like a news reporter. I feel like we're doing this news story on issues that we need to look at. And we've got to be really trusting our guide. We have to be making good choices, like what we make available.
Yeah.
On this project.
Actually, at 1 o'clock. I'm not sure if we're gonna be able to do that. At 1 o'clock, we need to be somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, but which one, Josh? This one? This one? How has homelessness changed since you were young?
Well, I think there's more homeless people, and do you just run out of batteries?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was born in 1957, so I'm 56 years old now, and I think that we have seen in this community of Pasadena a little bit more of the people coming from the out-of-state area. We have a higher population. California is the most highly populated state in the nation, and therefore we might have more a percentage of homeless people just because of the numbers.
Yeah. We can edit out stuff. Right?
Some of the parks locally in the last 5 years, I think, have filled with some people who don't have regular nighttime housing, and I think when we drive around, we can see there's more people who don't have regular housing.
Yeah. I looked it up, and it said like at any given night there could be like around 82,000 people homeless in LA County. Yeah, and in the year it's bigger number. But yeah. So I think we're good here.
But then, there's like still some questions like,
Okay.
how would you say people become homeless? Like, what are the main?
That's a good
things
question
that
too.
Yeah.
Okay.
But can you answer the question in your answer? Sorry.
Answer
Like,
please.
Yeah.
Oh, pardon me.
Yeah, but you've been doing good at this.
I mean, well.
Unless you want me to ask it and then you answer it.
Okay.
Yeah. So where is it, Josh? So I can do more.
How do people become homeless?
Okay. How do what are the main reasons people become homeless?
That I've observed.
Yeah.
Could be that they've lost their job, and suddenly they can't pay a rent. Then they get a 3-day pay or quit And if they can't come up with the cash, then might be that they have to be evicted. And that verification is something that we use in our project, our program here. People can find themselves homeless when family has asked them to leave. People can be homeless because they have mental health issues. Substance abuse issues can cause homelessness. Circumstances of having, in my experience here, like if there's domestic violence, someone might leave because it's dangerous for them to stay there, and then they don't have adequate funding themselves, personal finances, to put them into another housing. It's a gamut of how people get homeless.
All right, that's great.
Is it like chronic homeless people?
Oh yeah. So you said like chronic homeless people and homeless people that like are not necessarily homeless, like they just like sometimes they're in and out of housing and stuff like that.
Okay, I think there's a definition for chronically homeless.
Yeah, that'd be...
The definition for chronically homeless is someone that has 3 or more years of consistent not having a place to stay, or a place that's not meant for human habitation, which could be the back of a car, it could be a garage, it could be off the side of the freeway. These are people that have 3 years of consistent no residence, and that's a chronically that becomes a chronically homeless individual. It's got it, and repeated homelessness, but it takes 3 years to be considered chronically homeless.
All right, and then can you just tell me some of those names of those programs that you were talking about, like
earlier?
Yeah, like Housing and Urban Development. So that's HUD.
The HUD is HUD. Yeah, it's an acronym for the Housing and Urban Development Department. It's a federal program in Washington. We talked about Urban Initiatives, was a local program through Fuller Seminary, which studies this city and its communities around it for homeless people. Maybe we can, research them through Fuller Seminary, housing and urban initiatives. Right now, people in the county of Los Angeles, if they have Link Department of Public and Social Services, they have Medi-Cal, so they get insurance. The Obamacare, the National Disability Act, is providing people with insurance now.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's.
It's the Affordable Care Act.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That also mentioned we'll talk about that too. That's perfect.
So maybe we're going to see people that have a higher rate of self-efficacy, because if we make medical and mental health services available, people may engage in them and they'll feel fit and more healthy, and it should help their circumstances.
And then, can they get like help for addictions through that, or?
We have programs in place for people that come in off the street homeless, for substance abuse programs, and we can refer people to those programs.
Okay, great. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, what was our main question? Like, I think it's worth asking how does homelessness affect LA County?
Well, we had that question.
Yeah, we kind of covered it.
We're sort of like in a nutshell. We are a community that all have interaction. So the homeless person is a part of our community. If they need medical services, they have to receive them through our county medical programs. How we see that person on the side of the street that's homeless is a real important issue, I think, in addressing the question, because it's how the impact of that individual's own self reflects on their interaction with the community. It's a complicated question how it's all interrelated, but we're all interrelated. That's what premise I would like to discuss, is that it's all like we're all connected.
Okay. I think we should. Are we gonna go to the?
Yeah, we're gonna go up there to see the other part of this place.
All right. So we're going.
But now with Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, everybody that we're seeing pretty much has health care.
Yeah.
And that hasn't ever been.
Is crime a major problem with places like
Downtown?
Skid Row? Yeah.
I'm recording.
Yeah, and it's the police station's right across. The police station's right there.
Yeah.
I mean, people, we'll get an idea. There's a lot of different types of people. I think you know that.
Well, we're not gonna really try to cover like
No,
the
we're not.
negatives. We're gonna try covering like more like what we could
Okay,
do.
well, the resources. I'll give you an example. There are resources downtown
Mhm.
that are only available to the community downtown.
Yeah.
So that may be. But why I want to take you to Skid Row is because it puts another face on the LA County homelessness. Let's see if we got. And then and there's more. There's always more of them. I'm like, damn. They just. But those are the people that might feel like it's better not to owe anybody anything. But how do you meet them halfway?
Like they should have like a designated area, a park for that, you know?
There is one place in Silmar. It's almost like a big wagon train where people can go, and it's called the Hope of the Valley. And if you have a car, you can drive there at night and sleep in your car. Huh?
For women only? Hope of the Valley? Women only?
There's for men and women.
Okay, I saw it on the paper you gave me.
Okay, there's
never
probably
mind.
a couple of shelters. There are some shelters that are just for women. There are shelters, usually they separate the men from the women in these areas.
Pregnant women.
And there's maternity. There's the county hospital. When you start looking at places for services, okay, well you know what, you can Google Skid Row and it has a history, but then we're like all over the place. I think that's one of the things, you know. I like the approach of all of this. An employee of Union Station, she is the front desk.
Might as well take some pictures. Yeah, my phone is Oh,
Wow. I like that new piece is yours. See that?
Somebody did that. Yeah, this is all a new, in the last 4 years, this corner is completely new. That may be housing that's SRO, which means single room occupancy. come to San Francisco and it's like this.
But like,
This is where it's more appropriate because everybody's doing it down here, so you're not really singled out. If you're a particular band or